So after the last few videos we made, we've had some requests for the best sniper support weapons. So in this video, we're going to go over what are the 5 best weapons to use for sniper support inside Season 4 after the Reloaded update. If you enjoy weapon stat breakdowns and weapon comparisons, don't forget to subscribe to the channel as we're trying to reach our goal of 10,000 subscribers, and click that link in the description down below and subscribe to our second channel. We do post extra content over there as well. So the main categories for sniper support weapons, first of all, are assault rifles and SMGs. People mainly focus on these two categories as these are some of the easiest weapons to use in the game. And like I said, we need to get that balance of long and close range TTK as well as being able to control the recoil of all of these weapons. That is what makes for a good sniper support gun. And mainly we focused on the Cold War weapons, and the reason for that is because you do get the best movement from a Cold War weapon, whether it's an assault rifle or an SMG, you're still going to be benefiting from that movement if you have a Cold War weapon. Now, before we get into the top 5 list, I'm actually going to leave a list of what all the weapons I believe to be good sniper support after the update on the screen just now. So this is going to include the Milano, the XM4, the Cold War AK, the AS-VAL, the PPSH, the FFAR, the Ram 7, the Groza, the Krig, and the QBZ are all great sniper support weapons, just depending on how you build them. Starting off at number 5, we have the AS-VAL. Now, the AS-VAL is not the best sniper support weapon in my opinion, but it has to make the list because it has pretty much the fastest TTK for a full auto weapon inside Warzone right now, and just having that stat has to have it somewhere on this list. Now, for the best class setup for this, most people actually choose the 20mm barrel, but the main issue with the AS-VAL is the recoil, not the bullet velocity or the damage range. I mean, you can benefit from that if you do use the VLK barrel, but like I said, the main issue is the recoil control, so I would mainly focus on controlling the recoil as best as you can by skipping over the barrel entirely and then going for the commando foregrip. I would also go for the 30 round mags because there's no other way you can use this weapon without the 30 round mags on here. Then for the rear grip, I would actually go for the rubberized grip tape to control the recoil a bit more. Then from here, you've got a couple of different options. So you can choose an optic if you really need to. The one I would really recommend is the GI Mini Reflex. I feel like this is one of the cleanest optics in the game for sniper support weapons when it comes to Modern Warfare guns anyway. So you could go for that. If you don't mind the iron sights on the AS-VAL, which aren't really the best, you can go for the TAC laser. Now this is going to give you a slightly faster ADS speed, but it also gives you aiming stability as well. So you can go for the TAC laser, and then lastly, I would personally go for the Skeleton stock, and that's for the overall faster aim down sight time and faster movement speeds. So like I said, this has got to be one of the best sniper support weapons, and that is because it does have that super fast time to kill. And this is only really viable inside solos and duos because of that 30 round mag. At number 4, we actually have the Groza. Now, I would have put in the FFAR in its place because the FFAR technically has a faster TTK than the Groza at the moment. But the reason why I put the Groza here instead is that you're more likely to land your shots with the Groza. It actually has a faster ADS time, and it also has faster strafing speeds as well than the FFAR, and that's why I do believe it's a slightly better sniper support weapon. So even though it does kill a little bit slower, it's not by much, and you do get all the other benefits. So the way you want to build the Groza is actually the GRU suppressor for the sound suppression, recoil control, bullet velocity, and damage range. You also want to go for the longest barrel for the best recoil control, and that is just because you want to get the recoil control from the barrel and not from any other attachment, because we're mainly focusing now on the movement aspect of the weapon. So then for the laser, you do want to choose the Tiger Team Spotlight to help you with the faster overall movement speeds. You do want to go for the KGB pad as well, and this is going to give you faster strafing speeds. And then lastly, you want to choose the 60 round drum mags, and this is just to give you the largest magazine possible. And this is the way I would build the Groza for sniper support, and I think it performs extremely well after its most recent recoil buff. And like I said, similar to the FFAR, the Groza does have a really clean iron sight as well, and this is one of the key things I think a sniper support weapon needs, because you don't really want to have to use an optic attachment on your sniper support weapon when you can use that attachment elsewhere. At number 3, we have a weapon that I never thought would ever make it to this list, but the QBZ is actually a really good sniper support weapon. It actually has a faster TTK than the Groza up close and at long range, and also the XM4 as well. So this beats out both of those guns when it comes to long range TTK and close range TTK. And if you've used the QBZ before, you know that it has insane movement and strafing speeds. Now this did get nerfed in the most recent update, but like I said, it still has a really quick strafe speed regardless. I mean, it only got a nerf of like 3%, which is pretty much nothing. So it's still going to be an insanely fast moving gun. Now for the class setup on this, it is slightly different. So for the muzzle, you do want to use the agency suppressor for the sound suppression, bullet velocity, recoil control, and damage range. Then for the barrel, you actually want to choose the Ranger barrel this time and not the Task Force barrel. Now, the Groza has a bit of a crazier recoil pattern than the QBZ. The QBZ is way easier to control than the Groza, so that's why we're using the Ranger barrel. You get the exact same bullet velocity benefits, but you also get some recoil control, not quite as much as you do get with the Task Force. But like I said, you don't really need it with this gun because it already has very little recoil. Then I would go again with the Tiger Team Spotlight for that faster movement and the faster aim walking movement speed. Then I would go for the Raider stock. It makes it extremely hard for people to hit you when you're using the Raider stock on the QBZ. It's pretty insane the kind of movement you get with this. And then lastly, of course, you do want to use the Stanag 60 round drum mags, and that's just so you can get the biggest magazine possible. Now, it's such a weird gun to use for sniper support, trust me, but once you've tried it out, just let me know what you think, because this is going to be a really popular weapon. At number 2, we have one of the best sniper support weapons in the entire game right now, and it's the Cold War AK47. Now, the Cold War AK was already used before this update as one of the best sniper support guns, but it's still now one of the best sniper support guns in the game. And even though its TTK did get nerfed a little, it still has one of the fastest TTKs at close range as well as long range. And if you do land a single headshot at either one of the ranges, you can reduce the TTK significantly. So that's why the Cold War AK is one of the best sniper support options at the moment. Now, the way I've been building this gun is pretty different to everyone else. So I'm using the regular suppressor for the sound suppression, bullet velocity, and the faster aim down sight speed. I'm also using the Liberator barrel, not the Spetsnaz RPK, the Liberator barrel, and that's because you don't get any cons to ADS, and the ADS on this gun is pretty slow, but it does give you vertical recoil control, and it also gives you bullet velocity as well. So it's going to give you some benefits that you would get with the Spetsnaz RPK. Then at this point, you do want to go for the 45 round mags. You don't really need the 60 round mags unless you're using this gun as an AR for long range. Then I would go for the skeletal stock for the faster strafing speeds, and this is why most of the Cold War weapons make it to a sniper support, because they have this attachment right here which gives you faster overall movement. And then lastly, you could choose two different attachments. You could choose the Tiger Team Spotlight if you want faster movement and you don't mind having the iron sights on the Cold War AK. But personally, what I would like to go for instead is the Microflex LED, so you can try and focus on landing some of those headshots and reducing your TTK. Last but not least, we have the PPSH. Now, this is the best sniper support weapon in the entire game right now. Now, if you've not used this weapon before, trust me, this gun is insanely good. And even after all these updates, it's pretty much one of the best guns in the game when it comes to sniper support, like I said. Now, if you're going to compare this to something, let's compare it to the Cold War AK. Now, excluding any headshots, at close range, the PPSH has a faster TTK. At long range, the PPSH has a faster TTK, and controlling the recoil is just about as difficult as using the Cold War AK as well. But like I said, this gun, for the base weapon, has even faster movement than the Cold War AK. So you're going to get some insane movement speeds, some fast TTKs at both close and long range, and already it has pretty decent iron sights as well, because it did get an iron sight fix. So you could use the iron sights on this weapon better than you can use the iron sights in the Cold War AK. And so for the muzzle, you do want to use the GRU suppressor. You do want the recoil control of this attachment. You also want the bullet velocity and the damage range as well. Then for the barrel, you want to go for the Ranger barrel for the best bullet velocity. The Task Force barrel does give you damage range as well as bullet velocity and also strafing speed, but it cons your recoil, and you can't take that con right now, not on an SMG like this, because you need to control the recoil as best as you possibly can. Then for the underbarrel, you want to go for the Spetsnaz grip, like I said, to control the recoil as best as possible. For ammunition, you want to go for the 71 round drum mags, and that is because you need these mags, especially if you're going to try and challenge anything at long range. You're going to be burning through ammo really quickly. Now you have a couple of different options once again. Now, like I said, the iron sights on the PPSH are very clean, so using this at close to medium range is pretty easy. So I would personally go for the Spetsnaz PKM stock for the faster strafing speeds and build it this way. Now, if you do struggle to see at those longer distances, you can go for an optic. But like I said, I think the iron sights are good enough to challenge most gunfights at medium range. So there we have it. Those are 5 of the best sniper support weapons currently inside Warzone. If you enjoyed this video and you learned something new, don't forget to sub to the channel as we're trying to reach our goal of 10,000 subscribers. And click that link in the description down below and subscribe to our second channel. We do post extra content over there as well. And thank you very much for watching.